Remember that time Rafael Barba was a great character? Who was by the books, respected the law and its inner workings, didn't bend over for anyone, and didn't let his emotions get the best of him most of the time? Well, forget all that, because hoo boy, is Undiscovered Country a humdinger of an episode. Let's go on a fun adventure with this one. So yeah, Undiscovered Country. If you haven't heard via Twitter, Facebook, Tumblr, and Entertainment Weekly, this was Raul Esparza's last episode, and was everyone shocked by it. And honestly, this episode was one of the worst character assassinations I have ever seen done by a show. I was actually excited for this episode when it was first announced because Sam Waterston was reprising his role as Jack McCoy and Philip Winchester was coming back as Peter Stone. I actually like Stone in Chicago Justice. Hey, haters are gonna hate. But I was interested in their interactions with Barba, and seeing such great actors like Philip Winchester and Sam Waterston play off with Raul Esparza. So, the episode starts off with a funeral, Ben Stone's to be precise, which why they killed him off, who knows, but okay. And we get shots of Stone and Barba in attendance. And then we're thrown into a case where a baby is kidnapped. The catch with this is if he is not found quickly, he will die, since he has a rare medical condition that makes it impossible for him to breathe on his own. Which, hey, a rare episode that doesn't involve rape, and it explores the other facets that a special victims unit is about. Of course, Mary Sue, Lieutenant Olivia Benson, has to be the superhero and try to rescue the kid when the crew goes down to the father's house. Eventually, she discovers the rifle the father has is a fake because now Benson is a ballistics expert too.
I'm a cop, Aaron.
I know you're not a killer.
And I know a paintball gun when I see it.
What? What the fuck?
And oh my god, that is the fakest looking baby I've ever seen.
He's beautiful.
He sure is, Liv. Jesus. It is soon discovered that the mom and dad of the sick baby were going to court over whether to end his life or not. We're nearly 1/3 into the episode, by the way. In the interrogation room, the mom is torn over whether to end her son's life or not, because she hates seeing him suffer. It's here where we get this gem of a line.
He is a lump of flesh. My beautiful lump of flesh.
My beautiful lump of flesh.
And judgmental Mom Rollins, who judges her like she does with every mom who is flawed, just walks out. However, Barba takes an interest in her plight. But the kicker is, he has to prosecute the dad because he did kidnap his own son in desperation. He really doesn't want to. I actually loved how vulnerable Barba looked in this scene. Now here is where the character assassination of Barba begins. At Barba's office, McCoy stops by to tell him he needs to do his job. It's where this interesting tidbit takes place.
Almost 7 years ago, Dad went into a diabetic coma and...
Hold up. I could have sworn in an episode that aired 3 years ago, his father died 15 years prior. Oh wait, he did. And pardon my poor Spanish skills. In season 16, episode 12, titled Padre Sandunguero.
I know what it's like to have to face down your old man. Mine's dead 15 years. My hand still curls into a fist whenever I think of him.
Now, I'm not too good with math, but since that episode aired in 2015, his father died around 1999, 2000-ish. The funny thing is they showed this particular clip a few days before this episode aired as a teaser. People asked one of the producers about it, and this was their reply. Yes, you're right, our mistake. Continuity error. 19 seasons. It happens, thanks to our eagle-eyed and eared fans, keeping us honest. And you would think 3 things. 1. They would keep a basic spreadsheet on their own characters' info. 2. There is at least one website that has all of the SVU scripts that they could use for research. And 3. They could easily fix this in post. Wrong! They still kept it in. What the hell? It's why we also learn Barba takes such a special interest in the case. His dad fell into a coma 7, 15, 99, whatever years ago, and he had no brain activity. Barba refused to pull the plug, and he realized after his father died he had let him suffer. He's carried that guilt ever since, and he really doesn't want to persecute the baby's father. McCoy reminds Barba with this great line.
We're not in the compassion business, Raphael.
Later, Barbara visits the mom to talk about the kid's fate, which, why is he there in the first place? She informs him that the court will appoint someone to decide whether the kid lives or dies, and he now needs the ventilator 24/7. The mom just breaks down, wanting to end her baby's suffering, and includes this badly edited scene.
Why can't he just die? Why?
She asks why can't her baby die, and Barbara says,
He can.
cueing Grim Reaper Barbara, who gives her permission to shut the machines off. She freaks out and can't do it, which makes the following scene happen. This is one of the most out-of-character things I've ever seen done by Barbara. A man who respects the law and the courts and order decides to take it upon himself to do the job for her because she had a breakdown, and because my daddy issues. The same man who said the following earlier this season in episode 3, Contrapasso.
Why bother with cops or courts? If it's fair, it has to be just. Let the blood flow in the streets, I say. Oh, wait, you don't like it? I say get a bigger pair of boots.
But who cares? Continuity and character history seem to slip the writers' minds always. I want to point out that a week prior to the episode airing, I called this. I honestly pulled that theory out of my ass because it was so ridiculous. And yet, there's also the fact he did not know these people prior to this case. And even if he did, this was not his choice to make. It was the parents and the courts. A+ job making Barbara a baby killer, SVU writers. Truly a standout job. This train wreck is not over. We still got 15 minutes left. After this hilarious scene happens,
Rafa, what the hell?
Latte, right?
I don't want coffee.
Benson confronts Barbara about killing the baby, and he actually says this line.
I expedited his passing.
Even St. Benson called him out about not obeying the law, which...
11 minutes later.
You spoken to Rafael Barba?
Actually, the law says I can't.
Well, let's forget the law for a minute.
St. Benson goes on another crusade to try to save Barbara.
I suppose you want to talk to me about ADA Barba.
He is the best ADA that I've ever worked with.
So we're just gonna forget about her, huh? Anyway, McCoy hits her with the hard-hitting facts because he is not fazed by her saintliness.
But I can't have my ADAs running around killing people. It's unbecoming.
And yes, he's right. ADAs shouldn't be killing people just because it's the right thing to do. Another out-of-character element with Barbara in this episode is how Barbara went to Dworkin for his defense lawyer. Not Rita Calhoun, or even John Goodman, John Buchanan. Dworkin? Whatever. I guess Delaney Williams or Elizabeth Marvel weren't available, and a job's a job. At Barbara's trial, Stone questions the mom on the morality of her son dying.
In other words, you knew your child would have MDDS, and yet you still refused to have an abortion.
Yes.
Why?
I couldn't.
Couldn't what?
I couldn't kill my baby.
Because that would be wrong?
And then it came time for Barbara to take the stand, where he basically admits on stand that he killed the baby despite not being that baby's parent because...
I had to do something.
That's not justifiable homicide. That's murder. After this short trial and admitting his guilt and feeling guilty, This was the verdict.
On the sole count of the indictment, murder in the second degree, we find the defendant, Rafael Barba, not guilty.
Members of the jury, you are excused. The court thanks you for your service.
Honestly, if this was any other character or anyone else, they would have been sent to prison. We cut to a scene where Barba is clearing out his office because he resigned. I wish this scene went differently, where he was suspended and he would be put into a smaller office, or this entire episode didn't happen, but okay. The final nail in the coffin in this character assassination was the last scene, especially this line.
I'm you now. Live.
Are you fucking kidding me? But honestly, the character of Barbara was becoming her in the last 2 seasons. So unbearable and cringy, and yet at least the writers with this scene finally admitted it. And this, my friends, is possibly the last we'll ever see of Rafael Barba. An episode like this should have been at least a 2-parter. It was way too rushed. The court scene was exactly 5 minutes and 46 seconds long out of a 41-minute long episode. For such a controversial case, that is way too short. My other big issue was the send-off to Barba. It was only him and Benson, and that's it. I found it to be disrespectful and sad. I mean, we had Sergeant Dodds in season 17 get a going-away party with balloons and cake before he got killed. And he was only there for less than a year. And Nick Amaro had a get-together at Benson's apartment. The same thing should have happened to Barba. A character who was with SVU for nearly 6 years got nothing but a short little send-off. No goodbye to Finn, but let's be real, even this show forgets he exists. No goodbye to Rollins, which is funny because...
Detectives Benson and Rollins, Rafael Barba. I lied and told him you know your way around a courtroom.
I'm just saying. No goodbye to Carisi, which is sad since Barba was an idol of his despite a couple of transgressions. And no goodbye to Carmen. We had a character who went from this epic entry...
All right, take the belt in your hands, Mr. Kane. Feel the leather. Hold the belt. Now show me how you pulled on the belt. You can do better than that. You call that being dominant? Show me. Show me. Show me. Pull it. Pull it. Pull it! Tell me how you like it. Show me how you like it, Mr. Kane. Come on, pull it. Pull
like
it.
This. All right, that is enough, Mr. Barber.
Not a mark.
To baby killer lapdog. Terrible. There was a much better way for Barba to leave without that type of thing haunting him for the rest of his life, or him committing such an act. He could have recused himself and had Stone do the trial, or maybe had Barba resign because SVU was taking a toll on his mental health, or something else that wasn't this episode. I don't blame Raul one bit for leaving. Tired writing, same plot lines, poor pacing, only one character ever focused on. Even his interview insinuated this. What bothers me too is the crew lied to us as fans, claiming Barba and Stone would clash together mid-season on. But nah, can't have nice things. I was looking forward to scenes of them together and their dynamics. But this show doesn't care. It's Olivia Benson's world. They did this character extremely dirty.
Bullshit.
If Barba does come back as a cameo spot, I'll admit it. I'll watch, but other than that, I am done. I look forward to Raul's future endeavors, whatever they may be. Please be a Broadway show soon. Please be a Broadway show soon. Please be a Broadway show soon. Other than that, I'm out.